Alright, I'm here with a new video going over some of the games I've been playing recently. We've just been getting some awesome releases, some really, really good stuff lately. And I figured, it's been a while since I put out a video. I'm going back to regular weekly videos after a little bit of a hiatus. I figured I'd go over some of the games I've been playing recently, kind of give some thoughts, some impressions, and all that. Done a few of these before, so I figured this is a good occasion for it. So I'll start out with the game I probably played the least, but one I'd like to jump into more. Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I gotta say, I don't know how I feel about it being not just Super Mario Wonder. I understand that they're trying to have the distinction like the Super Mario Bros. Is the 2D platformers, Super Mario just proper is the 3D platformers, but it kind of falls apart because there was Super Mario World. It's not Super Mario Rose World. I wish this was just called Super Mario Wonder. I don't. It's a dumb nitpick. So this is of course the new Mario game with the first new Mario game without Charles Martinet, and there is a new voice actor. I find it before I get into actually talking about the game. I find it really weird how they went on to like kind of announce this because they were like keeping it secret. I would assume probably they were worried that like maybe people would bother the guy or something. But it was kind of odd that they were just like, yeah, we're keeping that secret. It's going to be a big announcement. And then, like, no offense, but it was just some guy I've never heard of. It's not like they were like, yeah, that's right. We're announcing the new Mario voice actor, and it's Kevin Spacey. Like, no, they didn't. They didn't announce like someone. They announced just some guy, which is fine. I mean, he's doing a good job. I'm going to be honest. I'll be completely honest. If you didn't tell me that they changed the voice actor, I probably wouldn't have realized. I hate to say, but yeah, I think the game's really solid so far. Haven't played it, played a little bit into it, but haven't played the whole thing. I haven't completed it, but I really like movement in this game. I think it feels really good to control. So I played it first in co-op with some friends, and I don't recommend this game in co-op. The camera's kind of weird. It's just not really made for co-op. And also, my degenerate friends were playing with the controls. They changed the controls to B is run and A is jump. I don't know who. Why would you do that? It's terrible. Y should be run and B should be jump always. And then when I played the game for myself, because I played it with them first, I was like, wait, it defaults to Y and B. It doesn't. I don't know. Really strange. I don't know why you would want to play it with B running. I mean, your thumb like fits perfectly if you go into like just this is it and then this is jump. I don't know. But the movement in this game is really nice. I really just like how it feels to run, to jump as Mario. It just feels really tight. There was some kind of I don't know new Super Mario's, which the new Super Mario Brothers series, which is going to kind of be, you know, that's the 2D Mario's we've been getting for a while. So this is what it's going to be compared to, and this is, I mean, from everything so far, much better than those games. I don't think those games are bad, but they're a little bit just kind of paint by numbers Mario. But this controls so much better than those games. Like those games are a lot more floaty, a lot more I don't know, kind of heavy. But Mario just feels so nice to control in this. It's like Mario, to perfection in this game. And I really like how it looks. I think visually it really looks nice. I'm really consistently this year being surprised with the Switch being 6 years old now and being essentially a piece of, a $200 tablet from, almost a decade ago worth of technology. And they're really getting a lot of good stuff on it. I thought Fire Emblem Engage looked really nice for the system. I thought Pikmin 4 looked really nice in general. And I think this game looks fantastic. I like the art style quite a bit. It is such a huge step up from the new Super Mario Brothers. That kind of plasticky, I don't know. Those games just look so basic and they look so generic. And this has such a wonderful, no pun intended. I really actually didn't mean the pun there. This has such a great art style, and you have Mario, and Mario's really well animated, and he looks around, he looks up, and he looks around at different things, in the level as you're running by it, and I don't know, I really like it a lot. There's a lot of good characters. There's a huge character selection, and they got to stop trying to make Nabbit a thing. I don't know what they're doing with Nabbit. I don't know. This is a dumb Twitter reference, but I don't know if you know that there's a tweet where some guy's like, "I'm sick of this new Simpsons character, Graggle Simpson or something," anyone else hate this guy too? And it's kind of a thing of like, there's so much Simpsons. And are you even paying attention if they introduce a new character at this point? I feel like Nabbit is like a Graggle Simpson, where I'm like, this they picked this guy up somewhere along the road. I don't know. I think New Super Mario Brothers U, but like I just don't care about Nabbit. I don't know what this thing is supposed to be. I don't care about him. I wouldn't shed a tear if he were to pass away. But I like the character, the character designs, and I like the roster and the lineup and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, Nintendo keeps just doing it. I love the fact that um, there's four of the five employees who worked on the original Super Mario Brothers, that released in 1985, worked on this game, and I think all five of them are credited as well in this game. So I think that's such a cool fact. I think that's such an interesting fact, and it really shows like, yeah, like this is what happens when you foster a good, work environment, and you keep the same people, and they're able to grow, and they're able to iterate, and they're able to do what you want. You can get something really awesome. So Super Mario Brothers Wonder, good game, good 2D platformer. I mean, you guys probably all bought this. You guys probably all played this one. So yeah. I'll get into something that no one's heard of. From Mario to freaking Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2. I'm a huge fan of this Insomniac take on the Spider-Man. I would say Spider-Man's probably my favorite superhero, but this is a really cool take. I don't know, they're just doing something interesting with it, where it's new, it's different, it's familiar, but it's like, okay, you're getting aspects of like old Spider-Man, you're getting aspects of newer Spider-Man. This feels like a really comprehensive universe, and this is just a really strong game. Insomniac's so talented. I know some people ran into some bugs, so when I started playing the game while it was still downloading the day one patch, I got some weird like visual glitches, but nothing crazy. But then once it installed and I restarted the game, I have not had any bugs. I had like a crash once, but I'm going to be honest, I've had probably every game I play at some point crashes on me on PlayStation 5. It's just common. I had God of War Ragnarok crash a few times, so I don't hold that against it. I know there's been some weird bugs out there. You turn into a cube or whatever, some strange stuff, but that's not been a problem for me. And they're just so good at like the movement in this game as well, where the traversal is just so fun. Swinging around is fun. Now you have these like web gliders that you can glide with. It's just a blast. I mean, I don't know why you'd want to even use the fast travel when you can zip around anywhere you want and just be there in no time and just have fun doing it. I think this game's just a big step up from a lot of the problems that I had with the original game. Sometimes they have you like play as other characters in the original game. I'm not going to go into spoilers with this, so don't need to be concerned. But sometimes you play as other characters in the original games, and those parts kind of sucked. But now in this game, they're actually pretty well designed, and they're pretty engaging. It's like a good way to break up the pace between just playing as Spider-Man and playing as Spider-Man. You get to play as both Spider-Men, which I also feel is like cool because you can swap back and forth like in an instant, and you can you have different side quests and side missions that you can tackle as the different Spider-Man, as well as then just do the basic stuff at the same time. I think the side content's a big step up from the first game, which I think a lot of that stuff was like, I'm going around catching pigeons. And there's still some goofy stuff in here where I'm like, why am I doing this? But for the most part, I would say like the side content is pretty engaging. So my PlayStation, I took a pause on this one to go to play the next game that I'm going to talk about. So I'm at like 75% is what PS5 says through the game. I just took a pause. I wanted to play through this other game that I'll talk about in a minute, and then I'll go back to it. I want to get the platinum on this one. The platinum just seems... I didn't get the platinum in the first game, and I didn't get it in Miles Morales because I didn't want to beat the game a second time. I have everything but that trophy pretty much. And then the first game, I was just getting sick of doing random like little things, random crime-stopping missions. So, yeah, but... I just like this a lot. I like the story that you're using, like the primary villain, and they're using a villain that you don't really hear too much about. I know, whatever you guys. I'm not spoiling anything big, but Kraven the Hunter is the villain. He's in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. I know they're giving him a movie that looks really bad, But I think it's interesting that they're using that character because that's not really a character that is used in anything. Doc Ock's in the first game and everything, but they also had Mister Negative, which is another character that they haven't really used. I'm, you know, so I find that pretty cool. And then of course they're doing the symbiote Venom suit story and everything too, which is an interesting take on it. How they're doing it differently from the original, so I appreciate that as well. Or not the original, but the way we've seen it, before, and this way we know it. So yeah, I really like Spider-Man 2. I really like what they're doing with this. I'm looking forward to the Wolverine game, whenever that comes out from Insomniac. I'm of two minds with that because part of me wants this to be just a standalone thing where it's like Spider-Man's its own thing, but then Wolverine is its own thing, and they're not, And I think probably the best course of action is let's not have them really cross over in any big way, but they're in the same universe. Like it makes sense they're in the same universe. It's just in a weird place where it stands because it's like, oh, okay, so the Avengers Tower is here. They mentioned the Avengers are on the West Coast or something, but it's like the Avengers exist. Is it the Square Enix Avengers? I don't think it is, but maybe it is. Why aren't the Avengers here? Like, why isn't this crossing over? Doctor Strange exists in this universe. Why his sanctum's there? Why is he not here? And I'm interested to see. I know there's some interesting ideas about maybe they're going to do a Daredevil game. I think that could be really cool. So Insomniac's really talented. They have a couple teams. They have two studios. Opposite sides of the country. I don't want them to become just a Marvel studio, but at the same time, I'm like, man, these guys are. I'm a big Marvel fan, and these guys are doing like easily the best job of anyone of making Marvel games. So maybe I'll just allow it. Maybe I'll just let that happen. So really strong game. Really liking it. Looking forward to finishing up and get the platinum. But I'll move on to like what I dropped that one for a time being. And this next game did not come out physically. Digital only, which was unfortunate. But don't worry, guys. I have a good visual representation here of this next game, Alan Wake 2. So Alan Wake 2, the original Alan Wake is interesting. I got it on sale, like when the remaster, the first time it went on sale back in 2021. And I tried playing it at the beginning of 2022, and I really didn't like it. And I went back to it in, I think, August this year. And I was like, okay, I really don't like the gameplay in this game, but I like what they're going for. I think this is really cool. And then I played Control, and I was really enamored with that game. I think that game's awesome. And so I'm kind of like, I'm kind of becoming like a Remedy fan. I'm really interested in what they're doing with this. I'm really interested in the interconnectivity of all this. Like, this is really awesome. And then Alan Wake 2 comes out, and this game's blowing me away. This game is awesome. Alan Wake 2 is phenomenal. This is just truly one of those games where it's like, you know what? I'm glad that this was made. This feels actually next gen. And something I didn't mention about Spider-Man is like the load times, which we're finally feels like we're getting somewhere with the PS5 after a lot of our games were, PS4 and PS5 cross-gen. Even, some of the biggest games, God of War Ragnarok, Resident Evil 4, those are, cross-gen. But this game, there is a kind of a, and I'm not going to go into spoilers on this one either, but there is you press the touchpad button to go to like a separate room that would be that you go over case notes or you do whatever, and there's some puzzle solving to that and all that, and being able to progress the story. And it is just instant. Like, you're in the world, you press the button, you're in this other room. There's no load to get to this other room. Nothing. It is instant. It is so cool. It really feels next gen. I mean, it looks incredible. Like, visually is fantastic. And visuals aren't everything, but I think in a horror game, which this is definitely more of a horror game. Alan Wake 1's not a horror game, but this is definitely more going for a kind of a surreal horror game. And visuals, I think, really help a horror game, like, get with the immersion and everything. And I really like what they're doing with the story. There's a split narrative in both the, playing as Alan Wake and another, like, FBI character. Both the characters are really cool. It's really interesting. I always really like Remedy when they do the kind of weird, like, live action stuff, and the live action stuff in this game is really cool. You may have seen there is a part of the game that you may have seen some people mention online. That part is really cool and really crazy. Definitely got me off guard. I really like this game a lot. It feels really good to play. And I don't know, Remedy is just such an impressive studio, and I'm kind of surprised I never really realized it sooner. But I'm glad I have. I think that what they're doing here with this kind of interconnected Alan Wake Control, Alan Wake 2, Control 2 universe is really cool. And I find them really interesting too, because Alan Wake and Alan Wake 2, I know Alan Wake 1 was, Microsoft published that game. They owned the IP and then they sold the IP back to Remedy. I find it very interesting that Epic published Alan Wake 2. And I did, well, first of all, I want to shout out all 10-year-olds of the world for spending your allowance and stealing your parents' credit cards to buy Fortnite garbage so that we could have a really, really good video game funded. Because I'm going to guess without Fortnite, that game wouldn't have been funded ever from Epic anyway. And we wouldn't have gotten the same game we got. So I really I really appreciate that. But I find it interesting that, like, Microsoft didn't jump on board with these guys. Like, they did 2 exclusives with Microsoft, and Microsoft's like, all right, guys, have fun. You go do whatever you want to do. And maybe they didn't want to be purchased. I have no idea. But I find it interesting that Microsoft saw the guys who made, like, We Happy Few and were like, yep, those are our guys. We got to buy them. But they were like, I don't know, Remedy? I don't know. But it's really interesting because this is just me getting nerdy at this point. But 505 Games publishes the Control games, and 505 Games is like a shovelware publisher. So they're really picking, like, bizarre publishers to do these games, and I can only imagine it's just because these publishers are like, yeah, we'll let you do whatever you want. Just, we'll give you the money. We'll fund the game. We'll let you do whatever you want. Just make the game, and I'm happy for that. They're not going with a EA or Ubisoft who's going to tell them, don't do that. Focus tests said that 33% of people might not like that, so we're not going to do that. I just think it's really cool. But Alan Wake 2, without getting too much into it, really fascinating story, really great world design, just really, really strong, really interesting all the way through. Looking forward into jumping back into that one, hopefully finishing up in the coming days, and getting to see what the heck's even going on. But 3 fantastic games came out within a week span. Spider-Man and Mario on the 20th, Alan Wake on the 27th. 3 fantastic games came out. There's just too much time. Too many games, not enough time. I'm gonna have to quit my job to play viddies. So yeah, that's it. But I appreciate you for watching this one. Let me know what you've been playing down in the comments. If you've been playing any of these games, or if you've been playing anything else, let me know down in the comments below. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Leave a like because it really helps out. And until next time, I'd like to thank you for watching.